Hello and welcome back. So let's go ahead and build our new form. I hope you were able to check out the different form stylings and then read about form for helper and what kind of HTML the form tag generates, okay? Or the helper generates, I'm sorry. Okay, so let's go and start building our form. So I'm gonna have my server running and this page open so we can see what we're building looks like. Okay, so form for @recipe. Now we're gonna first have to give this a class, okay? So we're gonna say div class equals row, and then we're gonna say div class equals call md12. So it spans the entire width of the container. And then right here, Command X, I'll move this within this div. Okay, so form for recipe HTML class form horizontal role form do F. Okay, now we're gonna use form group. So div class equals form dash group. Okay, and then it's going to be control label. So div, and again, this is all from Twitter Bootstrap. So I really hope that you were able to read how to build these forms. So these classes, I'm not building them up. I'm simply using what Twitter Bootstrap told me to use in order to add the styling for these forms. So div class control label is going to be a label. So control label call md2. It's going to span 2 columns, as you can see, of my grid. And right here, embedded Ruby equals f dot label. Okay, so this is going to be for the label, and the label is going to be for name, right? Because that's my attribute. All right, so there's the label. Now I have to enter in the field. So after the first closing div tag, within the same form group div, I'm going to create div class equals call md8. So this is going to span 8 columns. I'm going to say embedded Ruby equals f dot. This is going to be text field where I enter in the name, colon name. And then class is going to be form control. And I'm going to put some placeholder text. So placeholder is going to be name of recipe. And then auto focus colon true. Close embedded Ruby tag. There's the closing div tag. This is the closing div tag for the form group. Now let's take a look at how this looks. Now this is going to fail because I don't have this @recipe instance variable. Okay, if I reload this, it's gonna say first argument in form cannot be nil or empty, which is @recipe instance variable. So if I look at my recipes controller, I have the new action. Here I have to initiate an @recipe instance variable equals recipe.new. That's it. Save that. All it does is create this new object. Now if I reload this page, there you go. Create a new recipe, showed up with a name, and then name of recipe. Perfect. So now let's do the same thing for the description. So back to my new form. Okay. So the next thing is after this closing div for the text field name, I'm going to do another form group. So div class equals form group. Div class equals control label call md2. And the label is going to be description. So embedded Ruby f dot label, it's going to be type colon description. Okay. Then close the first div for control label, and now open another div, div class equals call md8 again. Okay, embedded Ruby equals f dot text underscore area. Now this is not going to be a text field, it's going to be a text area because I want a larger area to enter in the description and the steps. So f.textArea colon description rows colon 10 because I want it to span 10 rows. Then comma class colon form control within quotes. Some placeholder text. I'm going to say enter steps to create recipe within quotes, close quotes, close embedded Ruby. There are the two closing div tags. Okay, save that. If I reload this page, there you go. When I click on it, enter steps to create recipe, enter recipe, I can fill this in. Perfect. Now I need a submit tag. Okay, now I need a submit tag to submit the recipe. So let's build a tag. Over here, right after this closing div, I'm going to say div class form group again, form group, and then div class equals call md offset 2. Since I want my button not to be under these, so I want the first two to be offset and I want the button to be right under these input boxes, okay, right over here. So I'm going to offset 2, which will skip the first two, and then call md10. Embedded Ruby equals submit button, so f.submit, simple enough. And then I want it to have class of button, button primary, button large, I want it to be large, and then button X large. Now this name can sound confusing, but remember we used button X large just for the color, okay? Actually, I'm gonna leave this out now and then change it back to show you the effect of this. Close embedded Ruby, close the two div tags, okay. And then after my form ends, if I leave it like this, if I go here, reload, my button didn't show up, so something happened. Let's take a look again. Okay, div class form group, div class call md offset 2. Interesting. I wonder why this is not. Whoops, I didn't save this. I have to save this first. Okay, then reload. There you go. There's the button. And you see this color? This is not the color I want. Okay, this is the blue color. I wanted to have the color of this. And I have a class that I used before, if you remember. If I go to my custom CSS SCSS and scroll up, this one, this dot button dash X large, this button X large has that color. So if I simply reference that over here, button large, button dash X large, save that, over here, reload. There you go. There's the color I want. Perfect. Great. Now the next thing I want is, what if I don't want to create this recipe and I simply want to cancel and go back to my recipes listing? Then I want a link for that. So let's do that. Over here, after this end tag, we're going to have a div class class equals call md4, call md offset 4, and here I'm simply gonna say, I'm gonna give this an open square bracket for displaying it, embedded Ruby equals link to cancel request and return to recipes listing. Okay, and this should go to the recipes path, which is the index page. Close embedded Ruby, then close the square bracket for display. Let's see what this looks like. reload. There you go. Cancel request and return to recipes listing. I want to change this color over here. So let's do that. I think I should have something for that already. Actually, that's in well A. So I'm simply going to copy this. Command C. Command V. And over here, I'm going to say color match. Okay. So I'm going to have this link for color match to show up with this color over here. All right. And so I need a color match class. So in here, actually in my new HTML ERB over here, I'm going to give this a class of color match. Let's see if that worked. Perfect. There you go. If you click on it, it goes back here. All right. And then /new, the form showing up. Perfect. So now we've built the form. Now we're going to work on this new recipe functionality. Okay. And the step one of that is going to be building out the rest of our test over here. We're going to start with an invalid recipe submission, work on that, work on error messages. Then we're going to move on to the valid recipe submission. Okay. So we're going to do that in the next video. See you there.